I will have runes. Runes are going to be special stones that will be able to use while forging items. So when you forge an item, there will actually be a slot, and you'll be able to put a rune in it, and it'll forge in when the item is made. And the runes will add different effects. So add increased attack speed, increased movement speed, increase crit or luck or strength, stuff like that. I'm not sure all what I will have, but it will be stuff like that. Increase critical hit rate or chance. There will be world bosses. They're going to be almost impossible to kill. I'm going to make them almost impossible to kill, and different rarities. The Black Dragon will be the toughest. The second toughest will be the Behemoth, and then the Hydra will be the third toughest. These are open world endgame bosses. Yeah, there will be that, and then there will be dungeon bosses. So there's going to be, I think, 4 or 5 dungeons that are key to the game. There will be 5 main dungeons that that fall in with the lore dungeon bosses. Every 5th level will contain a mini floor boss, and every 10th level will have a main floor boss. Why do I have floor bosses in dungeons, and what does that mean? The 4 or 5 main dungeons that I will have in the game will have floors to them. About 110 floors within the dungeons, and it's going to be almost impossible to reach the bottom levels. Crafting items, I do want to be able to craft different items. As I said, I'm not going to go into that at the moment. Structures, like I said, I want to have structures that people can have. So sawmill allows you to gather a steady amount of lumber. So with this structure system, unlike like ArcAge or other games like that, you don't have to actually go out and mine nodes. As long as you have these buildings on, they will have a continuous steady gain of resources, and then you can choose what you want to do with those resources. You can keep them for if you're going to craft. So there's going to be this whole shop system too. So if a player is a blacksmith and he wants to make a deal with a person to gather resources, stones, metals, he'll make a bid on a certain amount, and that player, whatever the player makes, will actually go to that blacksmith. Whenever it gets full, it'll be transported, will be sent to that blacksmith. So players can actually make deals with blacksmiths, with different businesses, and the NPC that runs that mill or the sawmill or the mine will actually deliver that resource for that player. And there's a lot to go into that. I'm not going to get into it too much. There will be customization for, like I said, made outfits, bar mids, different shop uniforms, emotes even, to help with different business styles. You'll also be able to customize the NPC how they act. So you may want a snarky barmaid. Maybe some people get the kicks off of that, and you want to have kind of a snarky one. You may want to have a nice one, so you'll be able to get different emotions. Housing, like I said, everyone gets one plot of land. You purchase the blueprints for the sawmills, the siloses and stuff, whatever you want. You got to get the blueprints for it. So you'll get the blueprints, you'll build the structure. So you can get blueprints from different NPCs. And here's what it says with the bonuses, including reduce gathering time, increase resource gathered, extra storage, and more. So depending on what NPCs you have, that will happen. I will have an NPC partner / pet system. Like I said, I want to do something like that. I may even get some warriors, so like a demi-human sheep looting to carry your items for you, so it'll increase your inventory. So you may have that as a pet running alongside of you. You might get a fighter class battle alongside you to help do damage. Loot system, I'm pretty sure the loot will most likely go straight into your inventory. I don't really like to have to loot, but we might do it that way. Professions, here's the professions: monster hunter, merchant, chemistry, carpentry, jeweler, leathersmithing, tailor, and blacksmithing. Features that will be in the game. There's going to be a new style of loot system. Basically, everyone can free roll on every item, but if an item drops, like a piece of gear that you really want, every 24 hours you'll have 100 points, and it'll renew every 24 hours. But you can bid on that with your points. The winner who bids, so if someone bids like 50 and I bid 59, I have the highest bid. I get that item. 59 points gets deducted of that 100 points. And the other player, he gets his points back. So the next item he can bid on, or if he's in another party, so he doesn't actually lose that. Or you can straight just pass items. The gold and coin is split between all the players in the party. There's a whole bunch. You can pause and read that if you want. So here's the environment effects that I was kind of mentioning. So dexterity, trap evasion, strength, measuring the power of movement for physical objects, levers, boulders, doors. Some doors may need to be broken down. If you have high enough strength, you'll be able to break it down. If not, then you're not going to be able to get into that room. So your party can't get into the room. Luck, decrease the chance of a trap activating spirit. Mental resistance from mind alter, magic, insanity. Defense, decrease the damage from traps, falls. Only base stats affects HP, SP, and MP. I've already went over that. Strength increases melee and ranged attack. This is kind of all, you can pause and kind of read what I kind of have right now. Right now I have 1 point in strength equals 1 strength, but I actually might move that down to 0.2, so every 5 points in strength will up your melee attack by 1. I might change that. So the lore, I'm just going to go over kind of a simple basic explanation of the lore. I do have it all written out up to the point where the person actually starts the story. So the lore is that when all the races had just started out, all of a sudden the angelic war and the demonic war started taking place. There will be kind of lore that you'll have to find bits and pieces of, because not too much is known about it. Just that one day that angels the size of mountains and demons the size of mountains and all sorts of different creatures from hell and heaven started battling on the surface of the world, and it left everything to train. Everything was in shambles, earthquakes, eruptions, all sorts of different power, different techniques and skills going off that torched quite a bit of the world and would just like blow up, causing what you would assume to be like nuclear explosions, kind of like that. Small bombs going off basically on the surface. All the races kind of went underground while this happened. No one knows how it started. No one knows why it started. You'll have to find that out going through the story. There will be hints. There will be Easter eggs. It's your job as the player to kind of find out. So it happened, then all the races went underground, and then one day it just stopped. All the noise up there stopped. All the shaking of the earth stopped. And the races slowly emerged back up to the surface. No one knows who won, why, how it ended. It just did. Well, they were all underground, hiding, trying to survive in the cracks, the ruins of the planet. And this was about 1,000 years ago before the story actually starts, that the player starts. And so the races all start emerging, and they've been pretty much brought to the brink of extinction, every race. So they're really cautious. They fear each other. They don't want their races to be wiped out. Some races know magic. Some are good at foraging. Some are really good at adapting. Like I said, there's going to be 4 main races: the humans, the demi-humans, the dwarfs, the elves. So all the races start rebuilding. And the 4 races aren't the only beings left after the war. There are different monsters that have survived the harsh battles up on the surface. There are monsters coming out of caves as well. And so it's a really harsh environment. And all of these races that are brought to the brink of extinction, they are fearful of the surroundings, the animals, the monsters. So they start expanding. The humans fear the beings that can use magic, the elves, the demi-humans. And so they go to war, and they pretty much start enslaving demi-humans colonies and stuff. So that's where slavery comes in. The hero emerges, a human that helps the demi-humans, and the elves and the dwarfs all gather to fight the human race. As the humans start getting pushed back, the emperor that's in charge kind of fears that the humans may go extinct if the battle keeps going up and he's losing territory. And the demi-humans and the alliance that is formed with the other races actually want to hold a peace talk with the emperor, so he does. Peace settles, but then another war shortly after breaks out with the monsters that are starting to push back all of the other races. And so the humans and the races start pushing back as the monsters were starting to enclose on their territory, start pushing them all back to the caves where they were crawling out of. It was a really, really harsh battle. All the races were taking really big losses, and they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the manpower to carry on with the war. So they put seals, the 5 seals, the 5 dungeons that I was talking about, or the 4 dungeons. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have yet. And so those were the main dungeons. So they put the seal on the caves so that the monsters can't come out. And they put buildings on their little temples, shrines. And then so they start rebuilding. And that was 500 years before the story takes place of where the players actually come into this world. And so those will be the dungeons. There will be other races as well in the game. There's going to be angelic, demonic, gods and goddesses, and a few other races too. But those ones won't be playable. But that's kind of a simple way to put the lore. And so that brings me to what am I doing with this game? I'm probably going to post on a couple forums for some modelers. Now that I got most of the programming done, I'm going to switch to modeling and start actually modeling out the environment, the towns. I want to get a small little test demo of the game going, so just one town, the surrounding area, and a couple monsters and a few other things, and make kind of a playable demo for maybe a Kickstarter, something like that. But I want to get like an artist to do the art for the player portraits and the skill portraits. Although I do have quite a bit of class portraits that are actually different than this, that I actually like, that I've spent time making. So if I can get an artist to kind of do something with those, and to also help with the concept art and stuff. So I want to get an artist and a 3D modeler to help out, or a few 3D modelers for a couple of the characters. I only want to get a few of the playable characters to get kind of a demo together of what I kind of envision for this anime MMO RPG, and get some of the key systems like I've already been starting on, the key features. So like the stat system, quest systems working. I want to get a few of those so that people can actually see what this game can actually be and kind of see what I envision. So if I can get that done, then I'll see about starting a Kickstarter and see how many people are actually interested. But I want to kind of see if I can get maybe a team together to work on this a bit. Like I said, I do have a lot of the lore written down. I want to actually get that website up and running so people can see what the lore is. I need to get a proper writer to actually spell check and write out the stuff properly. But yeah, so I want to continue with this. This is going to be a pretty long video. I'm sorry. I'm going to use this to kind of hopefully draw people in once they see what I'm capable of. I did this all in 2 weeks, by the way. 2 weeks of work by myself with no help from anyone else. Everything from scratch. I do have other stuff like that I haven't shown you guys, like that game time, the main menu. I haven't shown you that. It's just I want to get certain things done before I actually show those. And on the website, I do want to do weekly updates that I can actually show you. But I think I'll continue with this project. But yeah, this is kind of what I have right now. Hopefully it will draw people in, and hopefully people will get the idea that I have in my head that I can envision, and hopefully I described it better for people to know. This will be mostly PvP, like I said, with some competitive PvP. I want to focus mostly on the story, the gameplay, and like I said, this is going to be pretty much an impossible game to beat. It's going to be thousands of hours that people will need to put into this game to beat it. And there's going to be a raid system too, so guilds can actually work together with other guilds against those bosses. I'm not sure how big the raid system will be, maybe 120, 300 people. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching, and hopefully I explained everything good. So see you guys later. Thanks for watching.